Good day, everyone. For the third topic, we will be talking about the spiritual self. This is the outline of our presentation. Number one, the concept of spirituality and its subtopics, which are spirituality, the spirit and the soul, spiritual self according to different psychologists. Number two, finding and creating meaning and ways of discovering meaning of life. Number three, logotherapy assumptions. Number four, religiosity and the subtopics, the practice of religion, the four dimensions of religion, and lastly, religious classifications. The concept of spirituality. Spiritual self is the most intimate, inner subjective part of self. It is the most intimate version of the self because of the satisfaction experienced when thinking of one's ability to argue and discriminate, of one's moral sensibility and conscience, and of our unconquerable will is purer than all other sentiments of satisfaction. Spiritual self is one of the four constituents of the self according to William James in his book, The Principles of Psychology in 1890. In search for our identity, man can never do away from considering our spiritual well-being because we are composed of both body and soul. Man's spirituality is the focus of our discussion in this topic. So when you speak of spiritual, it is an individual practice that must be done with having a sense of peace and purpose. It relates to the process of developing beliefs around the meaning of life and connection with others, without any set of spiritual values. The spiritual self is who we are at our core, and it is more permanent than the other two self, which are the material self and social self. The material self is comprised of our body, tangible things, our family, and home, while social self is our identity based on a certain situation. The spiritual self is the part of you that answers the question, why am I here? It is the aspect of self which develops a certain level of spirituality. A man's way of seeking and expressing the meaning of life. It speaks of quality of one's relationship, emotional or physical discomfort, as well as those seeking to make changes in their lives. There are a lot of ways on how to express our spirituality. Some examples for non-religious is humanism, environmentalism, and social action. Spiritual self-care can be a religious or non-religious aspect. Number one, meditating. You can do yoga at home or in a class to focus on the connection between the body and mind. Number two, going to a place of worship. Take time to connect with your natural environment. Walk your dog if you have one, to a place where you find beautiful. Number three, self-reflection is also beneficial by thinking more about yourself, relationship to your friends, family, and others. Our spiritual self is composed of spirit and soul. Spirit in Hebrew language is ruach. It is pneuma in Greek, which means breathe. It is described as individual's disposition and habitual attitudes which comes from God. Soul in Hebrew language is nephesh, while in Greek it is psyche. Original meaning, throat or neck, which means human life. It is described as the will, mind, the seat of emotion, and conscience. As stated by El Mercado in 1994, both soul and spirit means life. But soul stands for natural man. It can refer to the whole person, whether physically alive or in the afterlife, while spirit is the ethical factor to have a relationship with God. Spirit enables man to serve God and to participate in supernatural order. So there are several definitions regarding spirituality. Number one, Puchalski in 2014, he stated that spirituality is the aspect of the self that is associated to an individual's process of seeking and expressing meaning and how he or she is connected to the self, to others, to the moment, and to everything else that composes his or her environment, including the sacred and significant. For Dr. Puchalski, spirituality refers to the way people understand meaning and purpose in their lives. It can be affected by illness or loss, and it can be experienced in many ways, not just religion, but nature, art, humanities, and rational thinking. The second one is by Biergaard and O'Leary in 2007. Spirituality is an experience that is thought to bring the experiencer in contact with the divine. It is not just an experience that feels meaningful. Number 3 is by Sinat in 2002. Spirituality is also posited as the individual's personal relation to the sacred or transcendent, a relation that then informs other relationships and the meaning of one's own life. Number 4. Myers and his colleagues in 2000. Spirituality is the personal and private beliefs that transcend the material aspects of life and give a deep sense of wholeness, connectedness, and openness to the infinite. Now let's proceed to the next subtopic. Finding and Creating Meaning by Viktor Emil Frankl. Dr. Viktor Emil Frankl was born in Vienna, Austria on March 26, 1905. He is a medical doctor, psychiatrist, and neurologist. He developed logotherapy. It is an approach to help people find personal meaning in life. According to him, meaning is something to discover rather than to invent. It has the same concept with inner happiness, life satisfaction, self-actualization, and deep spirituality. He believes that in life, there is an existential vacuum. Here are some ways of discovering meaning of life. Number 1. Experiential values. This approach involves experiencing something or someone we value. The most important example of this is the love we feel towards another. Encountering something or someone we value leaves a good feeling in our life. The second one is creative values. The traditional existential idea of providing oneself with meaning by becoming involved in one's project or better, in the project of one's own life. The creativity and passion involved in art, music, writing, invention, and work. Every one of us has created something in our life that we value. In this regard, the desire to make a difference through work is a finding source of authentic meaning. The individuals in this connection are focused on their personal legacy. Third one is attitudinal values. It includes practicing virtues such as compassion, bravery, a good sense of humor, and the like. Frankl's most famous example is achieving meaning by the way of suffering. Logotherapy. Logotherapy is a psychotherapy introduced by Dr. Viktor Frankl, who is considered the father of logotherapy. The main belief of logotherapy is that man's primary motivational force is searching for meaning. In logotherapy, meaning can be discovered by creating a work or doing a deed, experiencing something, or encountering someone in the attitude towards unavoidable suffering. According to the Viktor Frankl Institute of Logotherapy, it uses the philosophy of optimism in the face of tragedy, where people are capable of turning suffering into human achievement and accomplishment, deriving from guilt, the opportunity to change oneself for the better, deriving from life's transitoriness, an incentive to take responsible action. Let me introduce to you the logotherapy assumptions. All psychotherapy makes philosophical assumptions about the human persons that cannot be proven with certainty. The following statements are from Viktor Frankl Institute of Logotherapy. Number 1. The human being is an entity consisting of body, mind, and spirit. This first assumption deals with the body, mind, and spirit. According to Frankl, the body and the mind are what we have, and the spirit is what we are. Number 2. Life had meaning under all circumstances, even the most miserable. Second assumption is ultimate meaning. This is difficult to grasp, but this is something everyone experiences, and it represents an order in a world with laws that go beyond human laws. Number 3. People have a will to meaning. This assumption is seen as a main motivation for living and acting. When we see meaning, we are ready for any type of suffering. Number 4. People have freedom under all circumstances to activate the will to find meaning. It means that we are free to activate our will to find meaning, and this can be done under any circumstances. Number 5. Life has a demand quality to which people must respond if decisions are to be meaningful. The meaning of the moment is more practical in daily living than ultimate meaning. This can be done by following the values of society or by following the voice of our conscience. Number 6. The individual is unique. The sixth assumption deals with one's sense of meaning. This is enhanced by the realization that we are irreplaceable. In all essence, all humans are unique with an entity of body, mind, and spirit. We all go through unique situations, and we are constantly looking to find meaning. We are free to do these at all times in response to certain demands. Now let us move on to religiosity. On the other hand, we are done with spirituality, so let's proceed to religion. When we say religion, it is about believing in God or group of gods and consciously adheres to the beliefs of his or her religion. Every religion has their own way of worshipping a certain deity. There are cultural factors to take into account, and they have their own ways of glorifying the deity that they worship, which can also be connected to their cultural background. 4.1. The practice of religion. It is defined as belief and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a god or gods. When we say you follow a certain religion, then you follow a certain system of faith and worship. 4.2. Dimensions of religion. Here are the 4 dimensions of religion. For every religion, these 4 can be observed. Number 1. Belief. It is a generalized system of ideas and values. Every religion have their own belief. Do you believe in one God? Do you believe in many gods? Or do you believe in certain ideas and value? What is it do you endorse? Do you endorse gratitude, forgiveness, cooperation with other people? And many beliefs depend on which religion you follow. And these beliefs can be ideas. Like, how do we see the world? Is the world a gift from God? Is it a gift from spirit? These beliefs may be positive or negative. For example, there might be some religion who believe that being a homosexual is a sin, and there are religions that are very strict with their beliefs. Number 2. Rituals. Repeated gestures or activities such as prayers and mantras. Every religion has their own ritual. When we say ritual, these are repeated gestures or activities such as prayers or mantras. That may be meditation, prayers, Sunday service, rosary, etc. We do engage a lot of rituals. Sacrament, ceremonies, christening, confirmation, coming of age, marriage are a common rituals that many of us practices from various religion. Number 3. Spiritual experience. Feeling of immediate connection with a higher being. Religion also highlights spiritual experience. So in every religion, there is a feeling of immediate connection with a higher being. However, the type of connection that we have towards the higher being may differ with respect to the religion that we belong to. For example, in Catholicism, we allow to call God our Father, but that may not be the case in other religion. Number 4. Unique social forms of community. Unite in one single community called church. There are various different churches in the world, and each have their own beliefs about God, about the rituals, and about people. 4.3. Religious classifications. Here are the generic classifications of religion. Number 1. Polytheism. Polytheism has multiple gods. Example are Hinduism, ancient Greek, and ancient Romance. For example, in ancient Greece, they do believe that if you get sick, it means you are being punished by the gods. You must make an offering in order for you to please the god. And their ancient medicine is getting saliva from a dog, getting the skin of a snake, because that's what they believe of what can cure them. Until eventually, Hippocrates came in as the father of modern medicine, and because of him, we viewed medicine differently. Number 2. Monotheism. Monotheism has only one god. For example, Judaism, Islam, Christianity. Third, atheism. It has no gods or deity. For example, atheism, Buddhism, and Taoism. Number 5, animism. They believe in non-human beings, animals, plants, or natural world. Examples are the indigenous nature worship, or Shito. So here are the comparison between spirituality and religiosity. In spirituality, meaning, connection, and living life is what you seek. It is more of an individual practice. It invites us to reason about everything. It seeks the sacred in all books, to do something within yourself. Meanwhile, religiosity is eager to find what practices, rites, rituals should be followed. to find what is right and wrong, or true or false. It is about community. It also has a set of opinionated rules and inventions. Religion follows the concept of sacred books such as Quran and Bible, and it deals with performing rituals. The similarities that these two share is meaning, the sense of connection or belongingness, and they both have supremacy and beliefs. The following are the key ideas of our report. Spirituality is a way of gaining perspective. It recognizes that your role in life has a greater value than what you do every day. It can relieve you from dependence in material things and help you to understand your life's greatest purpose. Religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, usually shared by a community or a group. Religion and spirituality are both paths to God. However, they are different in their approaches. A religious person is someone who believes in a god or a group of gods. A spiritual person, on the other hand, places little importance on beliefs and tradition and is more concerned with growing and experiencing the divine. Quite often, religion takes the approach of fear. It emphasizes sin, guilt, and the concept of punishing God. To put it in a simpler way, religion is belief in someone else's experience, while spirituality is having your own experience. Now that I've explained what spirituality and religion are, allow me to leave a question to you. Do you consider yourself as a spiritual person or a religious person? This is your presenter Kathleen Biha from the third group, bringing the presentation to a close on the subject of spiritual self. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us.